Hello, First Daughters. You're welcome to another episode of Talks with First Daughters, and it's your girl Mercy. How are you doing? How have you been? It's been an amazing month. Last month we dealt on thriving. This month we're talking about forgiveness, and most especially forgiving you. Not just about every other person, but it's about you, myself, ourselves. We're going to be talking about forgiveness. So, on the second episode of First Daughters Talks, I'll be talking about forgiveness. Have you ever been in that place where you know, or you feel rather, that you've forgiven somebody, but you still bear the pain, you still carry the scars, you still feel hurt at maybe at the sight of the person, or maybe at the mention of the name of the person, or maybe at the thought of what the person has done to you. There's still this hurt in you. You're like, I forgive you, but it still hurts. Even in darkness, you're still feeling that pain. Even in light, you still feel that pain. Have you ever been at that point? Have you ever been at a point where you feel like, I thought I've forgiven this person. I thought I've let go of this. I thought we've moved past this year, but how come I still feel the pain I feel? How come I still carry the burden I carry? How come I still feel the same way about this person or this thing? That is what we're talking about. Being the first daughter comes with a very silent contract. Like myself and yourself, we didn't sign up for we didn't sign up to be first daughters. So it comes with a silent contract, something we never signed up for. We just come into life, and then we see ourselves as first daughters. And then we are being imposed with these responsibilities, these mindsets, these thoughts, these norms, these do's and don'ts that people believe, everyone believes should guide first daughters. We are being told how to do things, how not to do things, how to carry people along, how not to, how to behave and how not to behave. But we're being taught that from childhood, from when you can even remember your name. You've been taught what to do and what not to do. And then looking back, for you to thrive, first of all, you need to think about forgiving yourself. Yeah, you need to think about forgiving other people, because you can't thrive. Yeah, the last month about thrive, we talked intensely about thriving as a first daughter. We had the discussion via first data stocks like this. We had it via interview, we had it via calls, and every other way we could. And we've been singing the song Thrive, Thrive, Thrive. First data strive. But then how can a first daughter thrive without forgetting, without forgiving the people who has kept her at the level she is? And that people, I am not excluding herself from that category of people. I'm talking about parents, I'm talking about siblings, I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about society, I'm talking about environment, and most importantly, the first daughter. Yeah, while we talk about forgive people, forgive this person, forgive that person, I want to talk about forgiving you as a first daughter. Forgive yourself. Yeah, forgive yourself for carrying a lot. Forgive yourself for being there a lot. Forgive yourself for putting yourself last. Forgive yourself for not thinking about yourself. Forgive yourself for putting me in front is selfish. Forgive yourself for listening to society. Forgive yourself for feeling disappointed when you think about yourself. This is that point where you get to think about yourself and you forgive yourself. Like, this is me, Mercy. I forgive you for all the days you didn't think about yourself. I forgive you for all the days you didn't worry about yourself. I forgive you for all the days you felt like being you is a crime, or being you is being weak. I forgive you for all the days that I forgive you for all the days that I felt like being weak, or asking for help is being weak. Now that is where thriving starts from. If your hand is filled with hurt, if your hand is filled with disappointments, if your heart is filled with pain, if your hand is filled with sorrows, unforgiveness, how then can you accept thriving as a first daughter? If you don't let go from your heart, what you think you have done to yourself, what you think or what other people have done to you, what you've done to yourself, what society have done to you. If you don't let go of these things, then how then can you thrive as a first daughter? Yeah, we'll be talking about forgiveness, 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 but it's not easy. I can attest to that. Forgiveness is not easy. Like in no single way is it easy. You can't come from the front and say forgiveness is easy. Neither can you come from the back and say forgiveness is easy. Forgiveness actually is a lot. It's it's a lot from your mind. It's a lot from you. You have to be in that position where you consider forgiveness, where you think forgiveness, and where you can act forgiveness. Because it is easier said than done. Very easy to say forgive this person, forgive that person, but it's not easy to forgive yourself. But this is that point where you got to understand that whether or not it is easy, you have to do it. I'm a person who doesn't love drugs. In fact, I don't like it. In fact, I hate the smell of it. But it gets to a point in time where I know that I need those drugs to be fine. It's not an easy decision, but I have to take it. Yeah, there are people who do not like to do things, but they've understood that I need to do this to achieve what I am meant to achieve. So you've got to do it, whether or not it is pleasing. Like walking under the sun, going to lectures is not easy, but you have to do it for the future you envision. Waking up in the morning and getting out of the bed when you're supposed to be sleeping, or when your body still wants sleep, is not easy, but you've considered and you've seen that it is important for you to get out of the bed. In fact, there are days you wake up and you don't feel like going to work, you don't feel like leaving the bed, but you still have got to do, you still do it because you understand that if you don't do it, what you intend to achieve, you'll not be able to achieve it. So this is like forgiveness. If you do not forgive yourself, you will not be able to thrive as a first daughter, regardless of how much I keep singing thrive, regardless of how the first daughters community keeps singing thrive. There will be no thriving without forgiveness. There will be no thriving without letting go. There will be no thriving without forgiving. And yourself inclusive, while you're forgiving others, you're to forgive yourself. And then there are a few steps to take to forgiveness. Yes, there is no masterpiece to forgiveness, but there are just a few steps. First of all, it's just like when you're injured and you're to treat yourself. What the doctor first of all do is clean the wound, open up that wound. You see, there are things we get to run away from. I don't want to talk about this because if I talk about it, I'm going to cry. But there is no way you can heal. There's no way you can forgive without opening that wound back. Do you understand? There is no way you can heal without opening, revisiting where the pain started from. So the first step is going back, realizing that, okay, I am hurt, I am pained. The second step is you're willing to go back to what caused that pain. I'm not saying go back to the pain, the trauma, or the experience you had. You can sit within yourself and you're like, okay, this is how it started. Like you reminisce on it, you go back you go back in time, understand that this is where the whole thing started from. That is where healing starts from. If you visit the therapist will ask you, so where did everything start from? Because there is no healing without the pain. You have to go back to the source of the pain to get healing. And then while you've understood you need healing, when you've found the source of the pain, you now have to walk with God through this journey. Forgiveness is not easy. I have said, and I am saying it again. It is way easier said than done. And if God do not walk with you through this journey, it's going to be way harder. So while you've seen the pain, while you've understood you need forgiveness, you've seen the root cause of the pain, the next thing you do is walk with God through this journey. You need to understand that at every point in your life, you cannot do things alone. Same as healing, you can't heal alone. So you walk with God, walk with Him, allow you heal, allow Him lead you heal, allow Him lead you forgive yourself. It becomes easier when you do it with God, but when you do it alone, it's way harder. So you walk with God to achieving your healing. And when you've healed, when you've forgiven yourself, yes, there are times you still look back at things and then you will still think about it and you still want to cry. You're human, it's very okay. You're human. Yeah, you're human, so it is very okay that you think about some things and you still want to cry, you still tear up. You don't need to beat yourself about it. That's what makes you brave, because I can still think about this. I understand how hot I was when it happened, but I've moved past this. I am out of this league. I have gone past this. I am not in that phase anymore. I am not in that space anymore. I am way more than this now. When you've forgiven yourself, when you've let go of these things, do not do not feel like because you've forgiven yourself, you're now a superhuman. No. Thoughts will still arise, words will still come up, emotions will still flare. You're still human. Yeah, the thing is, do not go back to beating yourself up over and over again. Now, when the steps have been followed through to the latter, then you try to associate yourself with people who have gone past that phase you just passed, people who are in the phase you are in right now, or people who are ahead of the phase you are in right now. These are people who are going to help you, like they'll help you come out of that phase completely and move into the next phase successfully, a very smooth transition. So when you come out of this phase, you connect with people. Do not stay back there. Do not stay back in that particular spot that has kept you there for long. You connect with people who are higher, people who are bigger, people who have gone past where you are, people who have gone past where you're coming from. So it's more like, if this person can do it, I can do it. It's not a competition thing. The way iron sharpens iron is the way it's going to be. It's not a competition, it's to help you come out of it. And while you're coming out of it, firstly, I want you to understand that we have a WhatsApp community where this is done, and the community of the first daters, we all are first daters who have gone through this phase, and we are coming out of it together, and we are moving into the next phase together. So you're very welcome to join us. You can connect with other people in the church, at work, at mosques, anywhere you find yourself. You understand? So that being said, you have to consciously and intentionally look towards striving. Nobody's going to help you more than you help yourself. You have to intentionally and consciously work towards achieving what you intend to achieve, what you're meant to achieve, what you've been built to achieve. Without this, without a conscious and an intentional step, all the steps are going to be fruitless. So you have to be very intentional and very cautious about it to ensure that you come to the phase where you start thriving as a first starter. And while you're doing this, I want you to be open-minded. Be open-minded to new things. Be open-minded to new opportunities. Be open-minded to greater heights. Be open-minded to greater glories. Do not remain, okay, yes, I've forgiven myself, so what next? No. Yes, what next? But do not start thinking, and that's all I can do actually. Well, my life has gone, it's over. How old am I now? I'm 43. My life has I've wasted my life. No, open up your mind to a greater possibility. Open up your mind to the fact that God loves you regardless of your age, regardless of your timing, yes, regardless of your thoughts, regardless of anything and everything. You're loved by God immensely. His love towards you is cannot be quantified. Yeah, it cannot be quantified. So have that in mind while you consciously walk towards thriving. I hope this tips helps to see you thrive. I hope that with this that I have said, you'll be able to forgive yourself. You'll be able to forgive family, parents, siblings, community, relatives, and yourself. And you'll be able to walk past these things. I believe these few steps will be able to help you come out from the phase of unforgiveness to the phase where you're forgiving yourself and to the phase where you're looking forward to thriving. Until I see you next week. Don't forget that next week's interview is with first letters. I told you before time. Yeah, next week's interview is with first letters. So I will not look for you because I know you'll be there to see this for yourself. Until then, do have a beautiful week. Do have an amazing week. Do have a week filled with love, self care, self help, self everything you can ask for. And do have a week filled with God's blessings. See you next week. Bye.